as far away as New Zealand. And so we're here, we're vendors here, and one of our good friends, Joe Polish, who's one of those guys internationally renowned for being an amazing marketer, invited us down, so we couldn't resist the opportunity, but we have a great coaching call for you here today, and on the line we have Mr. David Abrams, one of our top marketing guys here at Mojo, and also a very special guest, Mr. Peter Lever. And, I'm going to talk a little bit about Peter. His head's probably going to swell up a little bit. But, Peter, you on the line?
I am indeed.
Perfect. Well, welcome. Welcome to this coaching call. For everybody listening, he's going to talk about local SEO. And he's going to talk about Google Places. And he's going to, really what it comes down to is how to get found, right? How to get people to your front-end funnels, to get them watching your videos and all of that, how to drive more traffic, and really do it in the easiest way possible. So we've got some very step-by-step formulas. And what I suggest is watch this, take some notes, and I would take immediate action. He'll probably be showing you some stuff that you could probably do today. And, start getting more indexing, more ranking in the local area. And just to give you a little bit of background on Peter, we saw him out. It's been, met him out networking. It's turned into a great relationship. He's using Mojo, we're using his services, and it's just, the things that we're putting together are pretty phenomenal. But, he's worked with some major clients, from small businesses all the way to some large corporations. He worked with University of Phoenix, which is the largest online college on the planet, and also the Department of Education, which he'll probably tell you a little bit about. It's a small little website he did for them, something like 1,000 pages, very, very small project.
Exactly.
Also done some work with Nissan, and he's been doing this 16 years.
So, in a nutshell, one of the biggest things that we've seen is, the advent of the mobile phone. I think I read a stat that said that people are spending more time on their mobile devices, their iPads, their iPhones, their Android tablets, Android devices, and so forth, than they're actually spending on the computer. And so what we're seeing basically is, with the rise of this is kind of the mobile space. And what companies have been basically doing to kind of get in front of customers, and we're going to take it from the business perspective, is, look at search engine optimization, which has been a kind of a standard thing. There's also social media, and we'll cover that maybe in another presentation. But today we're going to stay focused on the search exactly. And within the context of search, one of the things that's been impactful is actually finding things. Obviously, Google's kind of been the strongest player right now with like 60% of the market share. And Google Places is their attempt to basically get into the local space, because local business accounts for a huge chunk of the actual searches. And you'll see the earlier players with guys like Yelp. They were one of the first ones to be around, and a variety of other different companies, and they would actually do reviews on your website. Reviews of your business, reviews of the restaurants, and so forth. Google figured out what the game was and then moved into, put their own mark in the space. And so now we have Google Places. That's the latest thing. It used to be called Google Maps. It's now called Google Places, and God knows what it would be called next week. But sure, they'll come up with something different. So how Google Places affects you as a business owner, or when you're out there, is basically when you're on the phone and you're going to look for an address, you're going to access Google Maps, and they've interfaced Google Maps with the ability to do a kind of a online business site, for your company. So Google Maps will basically have a little icon for yourself and anything that looks like it's close, plus some advertisements if you're on the computer, and actually just the map itself, and some suggested places if you're on the mobile device. And so the thing is that where this begins to have an impact is, like, I have one client that we started to work with, and they said their business had a bit of a downturn and they couldn't figure out why. And so we Googled them. We looked at their Google Places account, and for some reason, I think their business was listed as closed. So you imagine you're going to go to your local dentist, and you're looking up his address, and it says business is permanently closed. That may deter people from actually showing up.
Yeah.
So,
it's like the yellow page used to be. If you're not listed in there, you're not there. No one's going to be able to find you. You have something like closed on there, it's going to automatically just stop all your business coming in. No one's going to even know you exist anymore.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we dug into it, and what had happened is they had set up, you could have multiple profiles in Google, and they had attempted to open up one, and then they'd set up another one, and they tried to close the other one, and that's the one that was, but they did it improperly, and that's the one that showed up as closed. So it had impact on them. So we were able to get that squared away for him and got that account deleted. And so when people are looking for him now, that does show up as live. So so let's say that you actually have a Google account. There's Google. How they're going to assign it to you is they're going to pull it from a list of different databases and references. So, for instance, if Google's looking for your, it's going to see if you're cited in, say, the yellow pages. Do you have a listing there? Are you listed in super pages or any one of these different things? And they're going to pull all these what they call different citations together. And if you have these citations, they'll create a online profile for you. So if you're a brand new business, you probably need to go set up a profile. If you're one that's been around, there probably will be a business Google Places for you ready, and you need to take ownership of that place. So let's assume that you have one of those places. One of the things that you want to do is, we'll cover two things. One is to get some ranking and some exposure for it, and then the other one is going to be basically, actually setting up some kind of strategy in terms of how do you get out there. So to get more exposure on your actual Google Places account, what you're looking to do is actually go in there and modify it. And there's some places where you can add some keywords into it. So, for instance, if there are descriptions of what your business is. So, if you own, I'm just making this up, but if you own a dry cleaning company, you'd want to make sure that you say dry cleaning. You'd want to make sure you do say laundry. You'd want to make sure you have laundry cleaning services. Whatever keywords that might be appropriate to your particular business in that area. Once you have that, one of the things that Google looks at is how much are you using that profile. In other words, do you have any pictures up there, any videos, any descriptions of what you do? The more that you can adjust or increase that profile, the more effective you're going to be at getting exposure online. So,
my question there would be, does Google Places almost work kind of like Google with SEO, where you want on-site optimization? Would you want to optimize those images, those videos before
Absolutely.
putting them on? So that also plays a part in your ranking in Google Places?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, why don't we pull up like a Google Places, like just do a search for something, and we can kind of run through it. Just make sure people can see it.
And if you guys have any questions along the way, just pop them in the chat. We love to see some questions from you guys. Any specific things? Is it places.google.com?
And let's do a search for, and let's just call it pizza here. So we'll go do a search on the top, look for, there you go, do pizza in this area. What's
Scottsdale.
Right, do the Scottsdale. All right, so the guys on the top of the list, right, you can see that it says, how do you say Grimaldi's Pizza.
Yep.
Place has been around for a while. If we actually go to the Google Places account, I'll do that for you. Absolutely. So here again, so you see some pictures, right? We have pictures of the product. Now they're pulling these pictures in from, Google's pulling these pictures in from other locations, right? So they're on something called Road Food, they're on Urban Spoon, they're on City Voter and stuff like that. So Google's pulling these pictures from other places. One of the things you want to do is add to the website itself, add actual content so people can see it. And then what they've done is they've like in the title tags up here, it says Pasties Grimaldi's Pizzeria. So that Google knows that this page has to do with pizzeria. So if you have if your restaurant says it's Patsy. If it's Patsy Grimaldi, you need to say some kind of description about what you're about if you're going to show up, because Google knows this one has the word pizza in it. If you're going for pizza in Scottsdale, you should have something in that title tag.